Welcome to the Cruise Retreat Podcast. Hi, I'm Rita Perez, and I'm a travel advisor specializing in, you guessed it, cruise ship retreats. This podcast is for service-based entrepreneurs and corporate decision makers to learn more about staying everyone's favorite company with a cruise ship retreat. Ready to increase your client or employee retention? Listen in on this week's show. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. We have another amazing guest with us today, Tom Muldoon. He is a veteran of the travel industry, 31 years, and he has been with MSC Cruises for the past 5-ish years.
Almost 5 years now, yeah.
So I wanted to have MSC Cruises come on. Now, this is going to be like my other cruise line guests where you're probably not going to meet Tom. He's the one that helps me help you guys shine in your cruise retreats. So welcome, Tom.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Rita.
Thank you for being here. Now, first things first, I wanted to talk about Europe. And this is why I was really excited to have you guys on, because MSC is like the star of all cruising over in Europe. If anybody hasn't heard, they were the ones that came to headlines, like somebody had to be kicked off the cruise ship because they weren't following protocols. And we were all like, yes, because that's exactly what we need for other people to feel safe again. So can you just touch on some of the things that are working in Europe that may or may not transfer to our market here in the US?
Oh, well, certainly. Well, you know, we obviously wanted to get back to cruising as soon as possible, and we are a worldwide company based over in Europe. So we actually started cruising with one of our newest ships, the Grandiosa, on August 16th of last year. So we've been doing 7-night cruises to various ports in Italy since August of last year. Now, we did have to take a break in December and January because Italy did shut down cruising again. But we've been cruising again since the end of January up until now. We have the ship out right now, and things are going really great over there. We're only allowing certain guests on board the ship from certain countries over in Europe.
Okay.
And we're hoping at some point we're going to open that up to the American market again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Wait. So in regards to cruise retreats, what kind of benefits are there as far as like maybe meeting space or just different perks that can happen for these companies that do want to bring their retreat to sea with MSC?
We have a whole program set up for groups specifically like that. So we can pretty much put together anything that group would want on board. I mean, you know, first of all, you know, we can obviously provide the rooms for all of the guests, of course, and public areas. Meeting space is never an issue. There's no cost at all for any meeting space on board the ships. So we can certainly set that up for them. But just the whole atmosphere of having everybody on board a ship all at once is just it's a great way to build group camaraderie and spirit, and to have your training classes and things like that. But then also have a lot of fun, and everything is right there and within a short walking distance.
Yes.
So you know, we can provide a lot of different things for groups like that. You know, cocktail parties if they want to get together, meeting space if they're just meeting, and then we can put together any special programs they might want to do. You know, whether it's indoors or outdoors.
Now, do you guys have dedicated meeting space, or is it like just utilizing some of the lounges and facilities that you already have in place?
Well, that's a great question. Our ships have usually 1 or 2 spots that are official meeting places. So such as a business center where there might be a small room there for maybe 25 or 35 people. Okay. And then, of course, we have the theater for very, very large groups. But typically, yes, we'll use the lounges, we'll use the restaurants during the day for meeting space. So it's really nice and comfortable. They're in a beautiful atmosphere. Most of those rooms have AV, are set up for AV equipment. So if they want to do any type of a PowerPoint presentation or anything like that, it can be done right there as well. And we can bring in anything else that they may need you know, for meetings like that.
Awesome. Kind of like a precursor. Maybe I should have started with this, but what kind of sets MSC apart? I mean, I've toured the Divina and I love the Divina, and it is a different experience. So how would you describe that experience for people who have been on kind of other mainstream cruise lines before?
Well, we've only been in existence really since about 2002. And we are a European cruise line, so keep that in mind. We have, when we bring the ships over to the U.S., we certainly change some different things on board for the American public, but we are still a European cruise line, so you have that European experience on board the ships. Few things that I really love are the designs of the ships. The ships are just incredibly beautiful.
Yeah.
Elegant. Each ship has its own personality. So depending on what you like, I mean, the Divina is very plush and elegant is the word I always like to use for the Divina. The Seaside is totally different with brighter colors and mirrors and things like that. So the ships themselves are completely different. One thing I really love about our ships is that the clientele on board, even when we sail out of the US, is a mixture of people from all over the world. And because it's such an international clientele, we cater to them with different food. So when you go through the buffets, you'll see not just the American food, but food from all over the world. And I love to try different food, and every day it's something different. And in the main restaurants, you can still have your American food, but then you have other choices that you can try. So the food, I think, is a great experience. The level of service that we provide on board is a little bit different because it is a European experience, but the service is excellent on board. I cruised on the Seaside with my family right before the pandemic hit back in December. And I've been on about 85 cruises. That cruise ranks in the top 3 of all of my cruises.
Wow.
And not just because of the destination, we were just, here in the Caribbean, but the Seaside was incredible. The food, the service, everything that was provided. And then, of course, we got to go see our brand new private island, Ocean Key Marine Reserve down in the Bahamas, which was just awesome.
Yes. Can you touch on a little bit more about Ocean Key? I know that we were trying to get out to Ocean Key, and that everything stopped for us.
Yeah, it's funny. We've got that little, on this side, there's a little picture of Ocean Key. You might be able to see it, but Ocean Key is our private island. We opened it up back in November of 2019. It's just awesome. First of all, the ship, we don't have to tender passengers in. The ship docks right at the island. Mm-hmm. So it makes for a much safer transfer of passengers from the ship to shore. And then the island itself is just incredible. There's 8 different beaches. There's a paved path that goes all around the island so that we can transport passengers to the far end of the island, because the island is very big. You can certainly walk it, but if you don't want to walk, we've got the transportation to bring you out to the other parts of the island. But there's 8 distinct beaches. Every beach has a bathroom facility with shower. They have a food service set up, and then they also have a bar. So you don't ever have to walk very far for any of those things. The music on board on the island is really incredible, because as you walk around to different areas of the island, the music, which is coming through speakers in the rocks that you can't really see, and it's not real loud, it's just kind of tone setting, changes as you walk to different areas of the island. So when you come in right into the very square, you've got the Junkanoo music going on, and you've got the town square there. And then as you walk out, the music changes to a little bit more like what I heard was like 70s and 80s hits, but sung in reggae. Nice. And then you walk to the far end of the island, and you've got the spa out there, so you're hearing spa music. So it really sets a nice tone. And besides that, the island is sitting in the middle of the Bahamas, or actually on the western edge of the Bahamas, and crystal clear waters, great water sports. It's a great place. And one thing that it sets it aside from other cruise lines islands is that the Ocean Key is actually a marine reserve. So all the area around the island is all protected. And we actually have a facility set up, a research facility in conjunction with the University of Miami, where we farm coral on the island, and then we plant it in the areas or in the surrounding waters. So like I said, being a marine reserve, it's all protected, and we've done a lot to clean up the waters in that area. And it's a beautiful, beautiful island.
Nice. So does that mean too that your employees or clients mean the world to you? So why don't you show them the world and a thing or two? If you're ready to take your cruise retreat idea to a working plan, you need the Cruise Retreat Toolkit. Filled with calculators, templates, timelines, and more, the toolkit will get you 5 steps closer to your cruise ship retreat, and as a result of the retreat, more dedicated and motivated employees or clients. Grab it now at cruiseretreattoolkit.com and save $20 with the code podcast. The ships won't dock at the island that they have to tender to the island?
No, we actually dock at the island. So
Oh,
instead
no.
of having tender boats, we have a docking facility set up so the ship is right there at the island. So you can come and go as you please.
Awesome. And that's really great to hear too, that there's different kind of styles and vibes around the island. So yeah, you are together for a cruise retreat, but you can go ahead and do your own thing and separate as well.
Exactly.
Another thing I wanted to touch on was that I know for a lot of people, they want to do an elevated experience, but maybe they might be on a smaller of a budget. But I think you guys have a really awesome product, which I forget the name, that it's kind of like a luxury ship on the main ship. So can you talk a little bit about that?
I can read it. We call it the Yacht Club.
Yes.
And it's really a ship within a ship experience. So the Yacht Club itself is a block of suites up in the front of the ship, up on the higher decks, ranging anywhere from, I believe the Divina has about 68 suites, all the way up to the Grandiosa coming out in the seashore, which will have over 120 suites. Okay. So first of all, you have to have a key card access to get into the complex itself. Okay. You have butler service in there. You have concierge service. The Yacht Club has its own fine dining restaurant where you don't ever have to have a reservation, so you can show up anytime for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They've got their own, not really a nightclub, but a lounge up in that area called, I almost forgot, called the Top Sail Lounge. It's right below the bridge, floor to ceiling picture windows. So it's a great spot to be. It's really the best spot on the ship besides the bridge when you're sailing into or out of a port, to sit in there and have a drink and watch it all. And they've got their own area on the top deck with a pool that only the Yacht Club guests can go to. And then, of course, the cabins themselves are very well appointed as well.
Awesome. Yeah, that especially if you're looking for a more private, but you still want to get together, especially if it's like an executive retreat, man, and having like that own, like your own pool type area too, like that. Yeah, because there's nothing like going on deck and like having all the kids scream.
And it's really economical too. I mean, if you compare it to some of our competitors, what they offer for something, sort of similar. I mean, you can do the Yacht Club for just a little over $2,000 a person for a balcony suite. And there's inside Yacht Club staterooms as well that are even less expensive. And then even some that are more expensive with the Royal Suites. Mm-hmm. So it's a great experience. And if you have guests that like to be pampered, it's a great way to go about it.
Yeah. And that makes me think about another point of distinction for MSC Cruises is that you have the different classes of sailing. So it kind of makes it a little bit easier, especially like for the showrunner on the back end. You can add different levels of service with the Bella and the Fantastica. Can you go into a little bit of those and what makes them a little bit different?
Well, certainly. There's really 4 classes of experiences. There's the Bella, the Fantastica, the Aurea, and then of course you have the Yacht Club, which we've already talked about. Mm-hmm. I like to say Bella is like cruising like 25 years ago. So, you pay for it, you get the cabin, you get the free food on the ship, you get the free entertainment, and that's pretty much it as far as Bella goes. The 2 downsides to booking Bella, which is the least expensive, are your dining is not secured until you get on board the ship. So whether you request early dining or late dining, you don't find out about it until you get on board the ship. Oh, wow. And you may or may not get what you want. If you don't get what you want, you can always change it with the maitre d', but there's a little bit of a hassle there. So it saves you so that's one of the downsides. Also, if you like room service costs each delivery if you're in the Bella experience.
Okay.
So the cabins themselves also, one last thing, the cabins themselves compared to other cabins on the ship are going to be in the lesser desirable areas, meaning the inside cabins are going to be either forward or aft and on a lower passenger deck.
Yeah.
The same with the ocean views are going to be forward or aft, and the balconies as well. But if you just go up, pay a few more dollars for the Fantastica, you get the room service included. You choose your dining, and you're confirmed on that dining in advance. And then your cabin's going to be in a better location. And then, of course, when you jump up to the Aurea class, you get all the things with the Fantastica and the Bella, but you also get a complimentary spa experience. So you get 2 free massages, 1 for each person in the cabin. You also get access to the thermal area of the spa, which is incredible. You know, you've got the dry heat sauna down there, the jacuzzis, all the different things you can use for free that other passengers may have to pay for. And of course, you get a drink package with the Aurea as well. And also, one last thing, you get anytime dining with Aurea. So we have an area set up in the main restaurant where you don't have to show up at a certain time. You can just show up anytime between 5:30 and 9 o'clock and be served.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives you a lot more flexibility going with the Aurea.
Yeah. And that, especially if you're planning a cruise retreat and you don't know when things are going to end, or maybe something shifts a little bit later, having that flexibility is going to be really valuable.
It's true. Definitely.
Yeah. Is there any hidden gem before we get off that you wanted to share?
Any hidden gem? Well, we talked about Ocean Key, which I think is really fantastic. We're growing like crazy. We've got the brand new MSC Seashore coming into Miami in November. So she's an upgraded version of the Seaside that has been here the last couple of years, and she's awesome. So she gets here in November, and she'll be a year-round ship down in Miami. And of course, we are bringing ships into Port Canaveral for the first time. So as soon as cruising starts back up, the MSC Divina will be sailing right out of Port Canaveral. So we're hoping sometime here in June or July, we'll have the Divina sailing out of Port Canaveral. And then in November, we switch her out and we bring in the Meraviglia, so a much bigger ship into Port Canaveral. So we're going to have a year-round presence in Canaveral. So I know that's great for all the people here locally in Central Florida.
Yes, that is exciting news. I cannot wait. I am so glad, like, Port Canaveral is becoming like one of the it ports now, like a Miami or Fort Lauderdale. So next I'm like, okay, Tampa, let's get more for Central Florida. Well, thank you so much for being on today, Tom. Listeners, if you wanted to learn a little bit more about MSC, please shoot me a message so that we can go ahead and schedule a brainstorming session and see if MSC is the right fit for your cruise retreat. All right. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you, Rita. Thanks for your time and your business.
Thank you for joining me on the Cruise Retreat podcast. Please subscribe and leave the show a rating on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to take a look at the show notes for important information and links. See you next week.